Army to the Cape Flats. Well, this as the area continues to see gang-related killings in various communities there. DA leader Musi Maimane led that march. DA supporters marched through Manenberg, Gugulethu and then to Nyanga. Almost every day a person is murdered here, with the 279 murders reported in 2016 alone. Incidents of sexual offences and assaults are also very high. Now the DA wants the army to be deployed to assist police in combating crime, but police say the army is not trained to police civilians, and they claim 300 new policemen will reinforce Nyanga police station.
We must make sure that we bring stability in these communities. If we fail to do that, we are going to struggle. Otherwise, murder is going up here. Our people are dying. We are simply calling. Gangs cannot be in charge here. Let us bring the people to protect South Africans and make sure that the army supports policing. We are not here to say the army must replace police.
Well, for more on that story, we're joined by our independent crime analyst, that's Dr Chris De Kok from our Pretoria studios. Good afternoon, Doctor, and thank you for your time on the SABC News Desk.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to all the viewers.
Doctor, will bringing in the SANDF to support police in areas like Nyanga and Manenberg actually fix the crime epidemic there, because it just feels like conditions to lead or breed such crime need to be addressed in the first place?
Yeah, well, look, I'm not in favor, and I think no criminologist and no police science people will be in favor of deploying the army or the South African Defence Force, or any defence force for that matter. They are not trained. It's not their job. It is only when things are totally out of control, or where you have a situation of low intensity war in a country, where you can use an army or the defence force. The police must actually do their work, and the police must be strengthened. And that is the only thing that can address this problem. The problems in Nyanga and Gugulethu, in certain townships of the Western Cape, I mean, they are known that they have got a high murder rate for the last 10 to 15 years. It may even be increasing there, but the issue is those murders are basically a result, point number one, of social fabric crime, but also as a result of street robbery, and then a vigilante reaction to that. Now, no army can deal with that. No defence force can deal with that. That is the only thing that can help for street robbery and for the reaction on street robbery, which is vigilantism, is high levels of police visibility on the hotspots. On the social fabric crime side, well, there's a lot of other things that have to be done, and it can't also only be the responsibility of the police. It is the responsibility of the community. When we talk of other areas like Manenberg, like Philippi East, like some other areas, we are talking basically gang warfare. And this is where gangs are in competition for turf, and for places where they can sell their drugs. And even there, again, what should the army or the defence force do, even in a support role to the police? I say they should fix the police. There should be more police visibility. There should be more intelligence.
Doctor, just on that note, from your experience, does high police visibility lead to a decline in crime levels? Does it actually deter criminals, or will they just move off to another area where police aren't as visible? Actually, I should answer it in two phases. The one is that you see, police visibility must be focused on areas where there is crime. And clearly, towards the end of the 2005, 6, 7, 8, around there, and then especially in the time that the current Minister Cele was the National Commissioner, police visibility was a very important factor. And all the successes achieved there, and we have on previous programs showed the successes actually, was as a result of police visibility, focus police visibility. Now, I see some of my colleagues, my colleagues at universities and somewhere else are saying, no, police visibility won't help because it will just displace the crime. But that is the whole thing. When the crime is displaced, you should immediately be aware that it is displaced from point A to point B. And then you act in point B. And now you replace it to point C. But in the end, you will win. In the end, you will reduce the crime as it was reduced in 2010, 2011, and then in 2012, we lose the plot. And we have still lose the plot even up to today.
All right, Doctor, in many of these hotspots, for example, in Nyanga that's making headlines today, we see this huge trust deficit between the SAPS and the communities they're serving. And will rooting out criminality and brutality among the police, would that be a good start in mending relations between the SAPS and communities at this point? And how do we start that process?
Well, clearly, if a community feel that they don't have any protection of the police, that there is basically no policing because you don't see the police. We just had here in Pretoria East a power failure for 8 days. And I have never seen one police vehicle during that 8 days or during those nights. I've seen plenty of security vehicles, but no police vehicles. Now a community who doesn't see the police and who doesn't see that the police are doing something, about criminals, and they make no arrests or they make very few arrests, and they don't see justice to be done, that community then slowly but surely lose trust in the police, and that is when vigilantism is starting to grow. During the Khayelitsha Commission of Inquiry, it was established that in Khayelitsha, Harare and Linguletu West, in those areas, vigilantism is extremely high because the community feel they must do something to protect themselves. And that is a real danger. That actually also push up the murder rate. About a third of murders in those areas during the Khayelitsha, that period that the Khayelitsha Commission was looking at, was actually caused by vigilantism, a reaction of the community by themselves because they feel the police are not doing
very quickly, Doctor, we are running out of time. Minister Cele, during his time as Commissioner, he was sometimes called a cowboy in some media reports for his comments to police to defend themselves when suspects shoot at them. But during his tenure as Commissioner, and I just went through some of the stats, we did see a significant average annual decreases in 9 more policeable crimes, and these included house robberies, murder and attempted murder and hijackings. So clearly he might not want to take the army into Nyanga and so on, but his experience of policing and strong leadership skills really coming into play here.
Yeah, definitely. And that is why I wrote the article earlier this year. I think you referred to that specific stats that I used in that article,
yes,
to show that, the police must have some muscle, and the police must be seen as strong and as a police who will not wait for the criminals to kill innocent people. I'm sorry to say, maybe the police should be a little bit like a cowboy.
Dr. Chris De Kok, our independent crime analyst, joining us from our Pretoria studios there. Thank you so much for your team on the SABC News Desk.